Hello everybody, Planes here, and today I have a lot to talk about on the 737 project. So before I get too deep into what has been changed and added since the last video, I do want to go over the at least like 300 comments that said this thing looked like an A320 or a combination of it with other aircraft. And I completely agree with you. The nose was too round, the windscreen was too big, too stubby, did not look like a 737. So I tried to change that a little bit. I'm not completely done yet. Do note that I have not changed anything with the windscreen yet. That will be in the next update, since I didn't get to that one in this update. But I did manage to make the nose a little pointier, so I actually extended it out by a stud and got rid of that curved slope, so now it's a much more sharp angle downwards, much more like the 737 would have in real life. And don't get me wrong, I'm still working on it, so I don't need you to comment saying it looks horrible, it doesn't look anything like a 737, you made a nice Airbus there. Yeah, I know, I'm still working on it. The next update, it should be more refined, so talk about refining, that will be what the next update is for the rest of this stuff. I will be refining everything on here, so anything you see that doesn't look right now will be refined before the next update, so do not worry about that. But the thing that has been added since the last update is the tail assembly back here, and well, just most of the plane is done now, so yeah, lots of stuff to update you about back here. So the main thing is that I extended the tail. It is now an entire tail, and I'm pretty happy with it. Now, I know this thing doesn't quite look right because it doesn't have any decals on it. It's just a white and gray plane. Those decals will be in the next update, so don't worry about that. But yeah, the doors back here and the tail, they all function. These doors function the exact same way. They just slide in and out just like the other ones on the dual battle droid arm mechanism. Now, they do not use a sausage because I did not need that extra angle in the back, but they just used a bar piece, so I think we're good in that regard. But the horizontal stabilizers do have a bit of a dihedral there. As you can see, they are angled upward, and that was intentional because this thing does not have any sag. You do not want the wings to be sagging. And the vertical stabilizer, again, it doesn't quite look right because it doesn't have any decals on it yet, but I will be sure to get to those. Another pretty cool thing here is that as I turn this plane around here, we're going to see if I can. It has decent landing gear. Like I said, you can turn it pretty easily. It's a little tail heavy, but that's okay. In the back here, we can see quite a few things here, and that's where all the flaps are. And like I said, things aren't completely smoothed out yet, so again, excuse anything that doesn't quite look the smoothest. But way back here, we have the APU. It's in the shadow, sorry about that. And all along the back of the wing, we have the flaps. And I was finally able to add the flap tracks under the wings. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, hey, you're missing one right there. The 500 actually didn't have one on the inside flaps, or the inboard flaps. So that's a sort of neat thing I figured out when I was doing some research, or at least the 500s that I looked at didn't have any in those flap areas. So you guys will have to let me know in the comments below what planes had those and what didn't. So yeah, and another cool thing is that now both the engines work. I have yet to put a spiral on both of them, but they do both work. I put new batteries in there, so it sounds much more like an engine would. So you can see, pretty cool. And something else that I'm pretty happy with is the interior. Now, I don't want to spoil too much for the final video, and like I said before, with everything else on this plane, the interior is not done, but the roof can be removed in one piece like this. And there is a full interior, and like I said, it's not done yet, so don't expect this to be the final product. But there is a full interior, so expect that on the final video for this aircraft, which should be soon. But do note that I have to get this thing approved to be on LEGO Ideas in the first place. Oh yeah, and speaking of this thing on LEGO Ideas, I know a lot of you were concerned, there's a consolation, about this thing using too many parts. This is where I build it. And I was keeping close and careful track of how many parts I used on this thing. I checked my Bricklink orders, which I bought about 2,000 parts from Bricklink. So there's a number right there. I probably also used about 1,000 parts out of my own collection. So there's 3,000 parts right there. But I counted, that's right, I painstakingly counted the parts from the Bricklink order. It turns out that I only used about half of them. So that's what will normally happen with a plane like this. So a lot of the gray pieces and the white pieces were not used because I overestimated that. So turns out this thing is under the 3,000 parts limit. So it should be cleared to go on to LEGO Ideas. Like I said, it's not done yet. The decals are not on. It's not completely polished. The next update should be much better than this in terms of how polished it is, but it's getting really close to being ready to go on to LEGO Ideas. And this will not be my only project I ever put on LEGO Ideas, don't get me wrong there, but this will be the first one I do attempt to. I wanted to have passenger planes that LEGO makes, right, that are realistic. Now this thing is pretty realistic. Its head on, it has retractable landing gear, it has powered engines, which probably would not be included in the set. It has flaps, 4 doors, lavatories, full interior cockpit, blah 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 blah. So you get all that, and it's pretty accurate in terms of proportions and stuff. So I feel like LEGO needs a plane like this, whether it's this plane or another plane that's sort of the same design. They need to get away from those giant pre-molded parts that they've been using for years on their LEGO City aircraft and finally build a real plane. So that's what my hope is of trying to get started on LEGO Ideas. So this thing will be put on LEGO Ideas in a few days here, so get ready for that. And that's all I really have for this one. Again, delivery will be a surprise in the next video, so stay tuned for that. That's all I really have for this video. Bye for now.